Hey everyone, and welcome to another Rant review thingy on the Serenity Rain Show. Now, today I wanted to review a game that wasn't too good, and it's quite disappointing, considering that I'm such a big Hanna Barbera fan. Now, you probably know about the Philips CDI, the horrendous console that gave us those terrible Zelda games and the disgrace that is Hotel Mario. But did you know that they did an HB game for the console called Hanna Barbera's Cartoon Carnival? Now, the game's title does seem promising at first. Oh, this sounds like fun, so we're gonna save the carnival or something? Is this a game where you're gonna play with your friends? But then you actually boot up the game and you get this.
Hey kids, it's Hanna Barbera.
I bought this game just for this. Yeah, there's really no story involved in this game, nor is it a party game. All it is a collection of 6 minigames. Only 6. And if you're wondering if these minigames are any good, well, no. Sadly, no. But Serenity, you might say, they don't look that bad. Well, once I go into a bit more detail here, you'll find out why these 6 minigames are not great. So let's talk about them, shall we? Up first, we have Huckleberry Hound's Gift Emporium. Oh my god, really? Huckleberry Hound, my favorite cartoon of all time, is in this game? Seriously? He really deserves better than this. Now, Huck's minigame, if you want to call it that, is pretty much one of those memory concentration style games. You're presented with a set of gift boxes, and you basically have to match the two that are the same color. Sounds easy, right? Yes. In fact, I'd say it's too easy. Anyone who's probably as young as 3 years old is probably going to breeze through this game and find out that it's really, really boring. Now, of course, these games do get more challenging later on, but it's not really that big of a challenge. We'll talk about that part later because it goes hand in hand with another major flaw that I want to point out about this game. But yeah, that's all this is. Another lame, boring memory matching game. Seriously, you know what I was actually hoping for? How about a game where you actually have to wrap presents in gift boxes? You know, one of those games where you have to get a rhythm down and get the timing right before you miss something? That would have been way more fun than this. But this is what we got stuck with. Next up, we have Flintstones Balloon Ballyhoo. Oh boy, why am I not surprised to see the Flintstones in this game? Well, at least Fred anyway. So basically, all you do in this game is run around and catch balloons. Really? That's all you do? Now, I think this minigame does have a good concept, but it suffers from the same problem that a lot of these games suffer from. It's too simple and repetitive. There's not really a whole lot of challenge involved here. And get used to me saying that because there's a lot more to get through. Our next game is Scooby Doo's Adventure Isle, and despite the name, there's really no adventure involved here, nor are you really exploring an island. No, it's a maze game. Yep, all it is a maze. Well, okay, it's not your typical maze. There's a bit of a twist that in that the walls of the maze will change at random as you approach them. I guess it's supposed to give the idea that the maze is haunted. Well, the so-called strategy here is that you have to time yourself so that you can move forward throughout the maze once the walls change to a point that allows you to keep moving. But even then, that sometimes doesn't work because just when you think you've got a chance to keep moving, the walls will change and block your path, forcing you to take another direction. And sometimes it gets pretty ridiculous. I suppose if you're looking for a challenge, this game will give you one, but at the same time, the challenge resembles more the computer trolling you, forcing you to waste more time reaching the exit because when you clearly have one path to take, nope, you gotta turn around and go back another way. And it does it so much that at some point the whole thrill of the challenge is gone, leaving you with nothing but frustration and wanting to pull your hair out. Next is Yogi Bear's Picnic Place. Okay, what is this? So basically, this is just like Huck's minigame, only this time you're matching sound effects. What? Sound effects? Okay, look, I don't think that in and of itself is a bad concept, but the way it's presented here is annoying. Click on a picnic basket, hear the sound. Then click on another picnic basket and see if it plays the same sound. That's it, that's all you do. Now, the Hanna-Barbera sound effects are pretty popular and iconic, but here you might have to keep listening to these sounds on loop because of the fact that there's nothing that makes these picnic baskets different. They all look exactly the same, and you might end up clicking on the same one twice or three times or more because it's so easy to forget which ones you already clicked on that weren't a match. And so you have a hard time trying to figure out this game. It's going to end up feeling like you're listening to your little brother or sister pushing that same button over and over again on a toy that keeps playing an annoying sound. If you're not someone who can easily keep track of where you already clicked, you're probably going to get irritated very quickly. Next game is the Jetsons Space Race. This one does sound promising looking at the title. Oh boy, are we going to race on a Mario Kart like track? Nope, it's nothing like that at all. You take control of George Jetson and you have to fly your spaceship to collect satellites or droids? I'm not sure what these things are supposed to be, but yeah. You have to fly around and collect these while dodging asteroids. Say it with me, everybody. Lame. Seriously, the Jetsons games on the NES and the Super NES are a lot more fun than this. Not to mention that the name of the game is a total deception. This is not a space race. It has nothing to do with racing at all. Even if it resembles a classic arcade game, it sorely lacks the fun of one. If you want an actual racing game, you're sadly not going to find one here. The last game is Top Cat's Top Facts. Oh, come on, not you too, TC. Seriously? Look, I'm glad TC's getting some attention, much like Huck. But he also deserves way better than this. And just what is this game all about anyway? Well, it's a trivia game. When you started it up, you'll find TC trying to power his, factomatic machine, I guess? And what you have to do is answer some trivia questions based on Hanna-Barbera cartoons. The questions are actually quite easy if you're a big Hanna-Barbera fan like myself. And what's more is that they only cover a small amount of franchises, mainly the ones that get representation in this game. Yeah, you're not gonna find anything obscure in here, like the Chattanooga Cats or the Herculoids. Heck, you're not even gonna find questions in here related to other well-known Hanna-Barbera characters like Snagglepuss, Quick Draw McGraw, Wally Gator, or even Johnny Quest. They only cover the characters and franchises that appear in this game, and trust me, they're really simple. If you know these cartoons and you're a big fan of them, you're probably gonna breeze right through all of these questions. And considering that they're all multiple choice with three possible answers, that takes away a lot of the challenge right there too. Do this 6 times and you win. That's it. Okay, to be fair, if you're not as familiar with these cartoons, then yeah, maybe a few questions will be hard for you. But most of them are pretty straightforward to the point that to even a person who doesn't usually follow these cartoons, they're probably going to know the answer because they covered the things that even non-viewers will probably know just because of how iconic these characters are. And sadly, that's another major flaw with this game. It's just not that challenging, nor is it really that difficult for anyone. Okay, now that we've covered all 6 minigames, that brings me to another point about this game. The so-called increase in difficulty. Now, when you play these games, it's not like you just play them over and over again and it's the exact same game. There actually is a little bit of a difficulty spike. When you play the game in each section, each of the 6 levels will proceed to the next level and things will get a little bit harder. But even so, the basic principle of each minigame remains the same. There's no major change to the game's objectives, just small little differences here and there with each respective level. Now, there are 10 levels of play in all for each minigame, adding up to 16 total levels of gameplay. And what sort of things happen in each game when the difficulty increase? Well, just so we don't drag things out of here, I'll give you a quick rundown of some of these examples. For Huck's minigame, at least the gifts look different, unlike Yogi's minigame. There are more gifts to match, and they will try to trip you up a bit, like switching colors at random or moving around the screen. Even so, there's no score. So there's really no motivation to avoid making mistakes. What kind of message does that send? But in Yogi's minigame, it's difficult from the start because, again, all of the picnic baskets look exactly the same. So this minigame is completely luck based. Plus, once again, there's no score that's being kept. If you're not going to put in a score system, does that really encourage players to try and do better or give them any real motivation to try and avoid making mistakes? Again, not really an effective message you want to be prompting here, considering the target demographic. Scooby's minigame is already a difficult mess. The walls change way too quickly. Like when you're about to reach a certain area and then boom, the walls change right in front of you and it's back to square one. It just goes from annoying to frustrating to just plain infuriating. Okay, maybe not infuriating as in the literal sense, but still, it's not cool. What a pity. I would have enjoyed an actual mystery solving game more than this. TC's minigame can be a breeze if you're a fan of the Hanna Barbera cartoons and if you've seen them a lot. If you haven't, then maybe it'll at least give you some kind of challenge. But other than that, nope, no challenge whatsoever. The questions are too easy to answer. I mean, come on, we've all seen the Hanna Barbera cartoons. It's that simple. The Jetsons minigame, well, you can only fly on a few lanes, and some of them can make it easy for you to hit an asteroid. Also, they could have just had a hit point system or something like that, where if you hit an asteroid, you lose a hit point. And if you lose all your hit points, you have to start the level all over again. And if you do three times, then it's game over. Why couldn't they just do that? And as for the Flintstones minigame, they could have had you avoid obstacles or even have you try to not to pop the balloons. But no, all you have to do is collect them. That's it. Had they have added any obstacles or made you try to not pop the balloons, then maybe there could have been at least some kind of enjoyment. But no, we were stuck with this. Boring! Seriously, none of these games are the least bit enjoyable. They are all lame, repetitive, and not really that exciting. Now for the surprise, if you want to call it that. After completing each minigame, all you get is a letter in the word Cartoon Carnival. If you spell the whole phrase, you get fireworks. Oh, fireworks! That sounds like fun, right? Nope. But at least you unlock a cartoon to watch, so at least you unlock something. Unfortunately, I have no idea what the cartoons are, so I can't tell you the names of the cartoons. But Judging by at least one screenshot I spotted online, one of them was a Huck cartoon, but I have no idea which one it was. Okay, I suppose that's kind of neat being able to watch cartoons and as a reward. But they're in poor quality given the limitations of the CDI, so sadly that kind of ruins it. That brings me to the game's graphics. Now, this is the only thing I really like about this game, the graphics. They look nice, and you can see a nice animation when you're selecting a minigame, like Huck juggling or Yogi running away from Ranger Smith. That's pretty nice to see. I mean, look at the animation. At least the graphics look nice, so I'll give it that. Now for the music. It's not that good. Sorry, but the music in this game sounds kind of weird to me. It would have been much better if the music sounded like the cartoons. That would have sounded like Hanna Barbera more than this. Now for the execution. The game's concept sounds good on paper, not gonna lie, but executing it into a video game, it doesn't work. On a side note, do you know what worked better than this game? A Hanna-Barbera party game, kind of like Mario Party, but with Hanna-Barbera characters. In fact, I might just do a video on that, talking about my ideas for what could have been a Hanna-Barbera party game. But yeah, that would have been cool. Or better yet, how about if they create some adventure games for these characters to star in? The Sierra and LucasArts adventure games were really popular around the time this came out after all. Why not get into the act? I think Huckleberry Hound and Top Cat are two characters that would have been excellent characters for or a point and click adventure game on the PC. Actually, we were going to get a point and click adventure game that starred these characters. Back in 1996, Infogrames was going to release a game called Zoinks, or Hanna-Barbera's Pandemonium, were the two working titles, I believe. It was going to be an adventure game where Dick Dastardly and Muttley steal all the sounds from the various Hanna-Barbera worlds, and you had to assemble a team of Hanna-Barbera heroes to go and get it back. Unfortunately, we don't know a whole lot about what this game would have been like outside of a few screenshots I found online. But seriously, this looks like it would have been a lot of fun to play. But it ended up becoming one of more of Hanna-Barbera's projects that would end up getting canceled like so many others. Why does all the good stuff get canceled sometimes? Hanna-Barbera's Cartoon Carnival is a game that really had no need to exist. It was pretty much just another excuse for Philips to pull out more shovelware titles on the CDI and try to sell to make a big buck. Like, yeah, let's take these beloved characters that are so iconic and so beloved and stick them in a bunch of games and let's market it as something that parents and kids can play together. They're just totally gonna like that. Except that's not what happened. Why? Because these games are dumb. They're boring. They're repetitive. They have no real substance. Like I said before, if you want a real Hanna-Barbera game with real substance, then use one of the suggestions I made earlier, like a party game or a point-and-click adventure game, or a few more good platformers. That being said, will the Hanna-Barbera characters ever get their time to shine in the video game again? Honestly, I hope so. But yeah, Cartoon Carnival, as far as Hanna-Barbera video games go, you can skip it. There's really no need for it to exist. Except go out there and play some actual good Hanna-Barbera games like the Flintstones game on the NES, or even the Wacky Races game on the PlayStation. They're actually really solid games. Seriously, give them a try. You won't be disappointed. So, for this game, it gets a rating of 1 out of 5. It's mediocre at best. Now, had it not been for the graphics and at least getting to watch some cartoons, then it would have been a 0 out of 5. But hey, at least it has some good qualities. Well, that wraps up this rant. Thanks for watching, guys and gals. Be sure to tune into my channel, like and subscribe, and I will see you soon for more animation, video game, and lost media reviews. Until then, stay tuned.